What's up, guys? Today's episode is what is in my gym bag. I've spent so long collecting everything I need. I remember being like 16 years old wishing I could have a full gym bag like this, but it just cost so much money. It was not realistic. But now that I'm a professional fighter, I make good money. Plus I have sponsors providing me with most of the gear I need. It is full, and the exciting part of this is I'm going to be able to give you guys some little tips, things that you should have in your bag that are not that expensive that will really help you out. I'll talk you through exactly how I use them and why they're important. So for me, guys, it's kind of like Christmas morning. What do I keep in this amazing bag of mine? All right, guys, my gym bag. In 2021, what's important? What do I bother bringing with me? And why do I bother bringing it with me? First thing, I don't always care about what thigh pads people are holding for me, but I do care about the hand pads. And as funny as it sounds, I like smaller the better almost. I know that's not something that everybody would like because it means you have to be accurate and your pad holder has to be very good, but I like small hand pads, which is why I have these little Hayabusas. Fantastic little pads, and like I said, I don't care about the thigh pads as much, but these ones are really important for me to have on hand. Next, everybody needs a really good cup. It's very important. For years and years, I used the steel cups, but because they're so, in my opinion, they just always come in loose. They're always a little bit flimsy unless you get them on perfectly. I didn't use a cup that much, actually. It surprised my training partners. You could ask any of them, go, oh, does Gabe wear a cup? They'd go, no, man, he's crazy. But ever since I started using these a couple of years ago, I keep them in my bag all the time. I constantly use them. The outside of it, the actual clothing is amazing, but it's this part which really blows my mind. This is the diamond cup, by the way. I'll throw a little link down below if you want to get one. The part that really is just really fantastic is how this part here is flexible. So if you do take impact, it absorbs into the waist, and it's wild how you don't drop. Like, I've worn my steel cup for years, being hit and gone down. This thing, no problem. You can take a decent shot and not be floored by the impact. So diamond cup, I take it with me everywhere I go now, every training session, whether it's MMA rounds, jiu-jitsu rounds, or kickboxing. Next up, you gotta have your skipping rope. This one's on the end of its life. It's starting to break down, but still, I take it with me. I like to use the skipping rope for stretching at the beginning. Sometimes, if I'm trying to stretch out my chest, I'll just grab, it's all kind of bound up here, but I'll just go back and forward and stretch out my chest. I'll also use it sometimes to stretch out my legs, and then that's how I start my sessions. I always do my skipping round, so I always have one of these on hand. I don't like the super speed ones that you see in CrossFit, but I also don't like the really heavy ones that you see in Thailand that are kind of like whap, whap, whap. I like to be unique. I like to have variety in my footwork, so having a nice light rope that you can really, whip your arms around, do crisscross, all those sorts of things, very important for me. First pair of gloves, I always bring two sets of gloves with me. Number one are my training gloves. What am I going to hit the bag with? The pads. And for me, I go 10 ounce. And I go 10 ounce, as you can tell, lace up. The lace up for me, or at least I've talked about it before, I find that it can really support my wrist more than the Velcro. I have to, yes, wrap my hand all the way around and then feed it in. But for some reason, just because, as you can tell on these, the structure of the glove is not saggy, you can't fold them, so my wrist cannot fold. It has to stay straight. It protects my wrist. Very important to me to have the right gloves. I have spent years trying to find which gloves feel the best, and unfortunately, I don't even think they sell these anymore. These are Hayabusa, the ones that they actually had the Glory Fighters competing in, but these ones are spectacular. I'm a big fan of lace-up gloves. Doesn't matter if it's this brand or another one, I always go lace-up. And I guess we might as well pull out the 16 ounce. For the 16 ounce, I'm not quite as picky because my rounds are usually fairly fast. I don't do as many rounds in sparring as I would on pads or the bag. So I don't mind Velcro for the sparring rounds. These ones are pretty good. Not my favorite glove ever in the world, but ones that I'm still very happy with. Hayabusa. They have one Velcro and then a second. The wrist support is fairly substantial. The knuckle coverage is pretty good. I can still fold my wrist a little bit. It's a little bit harder to do it when I'm in this position, but you see I can still fold the way I don't like to be able to. but these are still my glove of choice for sparring. You gotta have 16-ounce gloves if you're gonna be sparring, especially if you're bigger. If you're like 120, 125 pound individual, then it's not as important. But for anybody out there, don't think you can go to a gym and get away with sparring with 10-ounce gloves. It's rude to everybody else. Safety is an issue, so get yourself some big gloves along with your normal training ones. I know it's frustrating having to carry around 2 sets of gloves, but it's very important, just an etiquette thing for the fight world. All right, next. This is the only supplement I take with me. It's one of the few supplements I actually take in general. Now, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, ooh, is it a pre-workout? No, I don't do any pre-workout. I've never done a pre-workout in my entire life. Like, never done one. This one here is a collagen. And this is really important to me, collagen, because I want to keep everything in my body, all the ligaments, really up to par. I've had a little bit of issues with my knees, people kind of tearing on them a little bit in jiu-jitsu, and I've been told that collagen, this one in particular is a marine collagen, and it actually tastes fantastic. This in particular is a coconut one, and this is actually something that my wife sells on her website. So I'll throw that link down below. It is a coconut flavored marine collagen and cofactors, and this is one of the few supplements that I've been taking for many years. For me, supplements are all about increasing the longevity of my career. I'm not worried about taking loads and loads of stuff to boost up my performance. Most of that for me is based on me getting the right sleep, eating healthy, putting in the exercise time, taking the recovery time, and this is just something that I've found that I think really helps me. It's really hard to say with supplements, do they help you, don't they? Because you don't really get to try not having it and try having it and do this massive comparison. I just take it, and I really believe it helps my injuries overall. All right, I always also like to travel with a ball. In the past, this was my main source for massaging my body before, for working out kinks. I have a new tool now, which we'll talk about in a moment, but I still bring this with me because I can stand on it and roll out the bottom of my feet, which I find is quite important with all the running I do. Sometimes the arch of the foot needs some care before I start skipping, so I take a tennis ball with me or a lacrosse ball. It's just something I always like to have around. Of course, I have my wraps. You guys can tell I'm terrible about rolling them up after. I always do them like this. I don't think I ever fold them up properly after, but yeah, wraps are very important. I do have a tip if you don't like wrapping your hands every time, or if you need extra support, because sometimes for me this is not enough. Actually, let's move to that right now. If I have my hand wrap and you're still having issues, I always take hockey tape with me. What I'll do with the hockey tape, either before or after I do up my wraps, depends on whether you have hair on your arms or not, is I just take a little bit and I'll just go over the wrist 3 times. 1, 2, 3, all the way around. And it just takes my wrist and being able to go like that, and it makes it more like I can only move it about that far. And it provides a lot of stability. Like I said, if you have a bunch of hair on your arm, you might not want to go under. So you get your wrap on first, and then you can go over the wrap with 3 little strands of tape, nice big circles. And in general, just having tape is fantastic in case you have some kind of knee injury or your ankle injury or something like that. If you guys would be interested in seeing some of the ways I do wrap my injuries up, you let me know. I'll make sure I make a video on it. But hockey tape, I always have one of these with me whenever I go to do any training session. What else do we have in this little pocket? Deck of cards. I just take those so I can do workouts. I have actually throw a little link up there so you guys can check out one of the workouts I do with the cards. But it's just fun to have something to switch up the routine, switch up my general training routine, especially if I'm on my own. If I'm on my own and I want to do something, but I can't be creative enough to motivate myself for a really hard workout, I could do something like, okay, first card is burpees, second card is sit-ups. Flip it over, like, oh, okay, 3 burpees, next one, 2 sit-ups, 1 burpee, and sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's really hard. But I just like having the deck of cards on me for fun drills like that. Maybe not fun, but just drills to keep me motivated and to push myself when there's no coach around. Next, reflex ball. I've done a video on this before. I will link it up there. You throw your hat on, you attach it to your forehead, bounces back and forth, and you just punch it. And you just work on your accuracy, your eyesight. This is a fantastic training tool. It costs about $3 to make. And instead of going and buying one for $20 or $30, you just put your own together. Super simple and a very fun drill, although maybe not the most most important for training. You know, if you have a choice between pad work or this, you do your pad work. If you have a choice between drilling with a partner or this, you do that. But this is just something fun to finish off your training session. That's when I use it. At the very end, I just, you know, plunk away on it, play around, and just relax and have a cool down session while I work on my eyesight. Next up, cupping. If you guys don't know about this, it's just a traditional Chinese medicine, I believe. So let's say I pinched my neck in the middle of a training session. I can take this, I suction it on, I create some space, I push in, and now what it's doing is it's drawing the muscles, the ligaments outwards, stretching them out, relieving some tension. I'll leave it on there sometimes for 10-15 minutes at the end of a session if I have an injury. Very important for me to have, especially with my back over the years. I've had many times where I've left with a kink in my back, and if I put this on for the whole car ride home, I find when I get back I'm a little bit looser and it hasn't locked up. I always take one of these with me. If I'm on the plane, it's with me. If I go to a training session, it's with me. Sometimes I even just carry it around in my pocket when I'm going downtown. If I already have something that's feeling a little stiff, this will help loosen it up. All right, assuming it's a sparring day, the headgear comes with me. I, as I've already said in a video, don't use this very often. I never use it in kickboxing sparring because it's too dangerous. The eyesight is very difficult. If I lean down too much, I can't see my opponent's head. If I lean up too much, I can't see their uppercuts coming from downwards angle. So I only use this for boxing. This is a fantastic headgear. Even though you can't see much out of it, it protects your nose 100%. This is the reason I got it, is because I saw Manny Pacquiao training with it. They're around $400, so they're not cheap, but a great investment if you like putting in boxing rounds and you want to keep your nose fairly straight. Next up, shin pads. Shin pads are an interesting one for me. I have gone through about 4 different sets throughout the years, and I have not found one yet that I'm 100% in love with. They all have little issues. These ones are from Hayabusa. I actually have some other ones outside as well. The good thing that Hayabusa did is they put a little bit more padding right on this crease here. So if you happen to take an elbow when you throw the kick, you have a little bit of protection. Some parts I don't love is I don't love this little piece that comes up to protect the knee on the outside, because I actually like to wear knee pads. I couldn't find my knee pads today, and you can't buy them anyway from the company that I get them from, so I didn't bother including them, but I will do an episode in the future on my knee pads. But these shin pads, like I said, they're not 100% my favorite, but they are very good. I don't have anything massively terrible to say about them. But again, I haven't had the perfect shin pad for me yet. All right, we're getting down to the end of the bag here, guys. We've got next a mouth guard. The mouth guard, this one's a relatively old one for me. Custom mouth guard. So important, guys. If you do not have a custom mouth guard, number one, it's not going to fit in your mouth and get snug and stay there when you get hit. If you get hit and the mouth guard's popping out, you probably don't have a great custom mouth guard, which means if it pops out and then you get clocked after, you're going to have your teeth slamming together, which means more chance of serious concussion, more chance of your teeth breaking. Definitely don't go and get your mouth guard at your local sports store. It needs to be custom made. You can get this through your dentist. You can get this through one of the many sites online that provide them. I have one that I got this from. I will link that down below as well. But this is something that you should spend money on. It doesn't matter if it costs you $75 or $200. So important. Do not skimp when it comes to a good mouth guard. I've had this one for so long, the top of the case has fallen off, but I've worn this for all my fights for as long as I can remember. I think I've had this one for probably 18 years. I think, something like that. It's crazy. My teeth haven't shifted. I had this before I started competing professionally. That is for sure. All right, only a couple items left in the bag. What do we got here? Oh yes, my fantastic massage gun. Like I said before when we were talking about, what was it? Tennis balls. Before I had this was my go-to. This was my massage tool. Now I have this amazing massage gun here, which is just fantastic. I can just grab this before or after a training session, pop in one of these. The noise, the volume of this is so low, which is amazing. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to loosen up muscles before or deal with injuries after. There we go. Listen to how quiet that is. You guys can hardly even hear it. I can just get it against my neck, work away anything that's bugging me. If I have sore bicep, I just work up and down pre-training, and then if I have something that gets aggravated after, I can use it post-training. Very, very simple tool. Definitely worthwhile having in your training bag. I would not want to give this up now that I've actually had it and I've been spoiled. And if you're interested in getting one of those, I have links down below to save you a little bit of money on your purchase. And the last thing I have in my bag, aside from a bunch of socks and hand sanitizer, all the things that I don't really need, just little leftovers. So the last thing I have is my tie liniment. So pre-training, a lot of people like to loosen up and they spray that yellow tie liniment, which is, smells very nice, but it's full of dye. So this one here is Athlon Rub, and it's something that I've been using for about a year, I'd say. I've been exposed to it and been able to bring it back into my routine. So if I have a sore neck, little spray, rub it in, smells really good, and I just loosen up everything beforehand. I used this type of stuff for so many years until I found out that the yellow dye was in it, and I went, you know what? I'm trying to eliminate everything that's bad for you. It doesn't matter if it's diet, doesn't matter if it's something that you're exposed to in your life in a different way, or if it's in a training session, it's going on your body. I don't want bad stuff around me. So I eliminated the tie liniment, which most people use, but I'm very happy to have this back in my life. And aside from the smell being pretty spectacular, it just makes me feel that much better at the beginning of a training session. If you're sore, if you're stiff, it's what you need. And again, I have a link down below. You can grab that. Get yourself a couple bottles. You will love this, especially knowing that it is healthy for you and you're not putting any garbage on your body, absorbing into your body. And guys, that is it. That is everything in my gym bag. That is flattened out. That is empty. Sometimes I take a few extra things, but those are the essentials that fill up that bag. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, filling that bag up is not cheap. It takes a lot of money, and you need to pick and choose what's right for you, what you can afford, what's really an essential. If you have loads of money, that's great. Go and buy it all. If you're on a budget, pick and choose the things which are very important, things that are going to make you a better athlete. Sometimes the small things for me are very important. Things like having the tape around, the Athlon Rub, the collagen. Those ones for me are very, very important. I found they've helped me. They've made a world of difference in how hard I'm able to train, how many times a week I'm able to train, how healthy I feel. And they're not things that most people would have in their bag, but again, you choose what's important to you. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this look at what's in my gym bag 2021. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you haven't, guys, get subscribed. If you have any questions on anything I had in this video, throw it down in the comments below. I'll get back to you. Train hard, guys, and I'll see you back here soon for another video.